Cherub, or known in the plural form as cherubim, is an angelic figure repeatedly mentioned in the Bible. Cherubim are described as serving the will of God, performing divine duties in the earthly realm. Each of the cherubim had 4 faces. One face was that of a cherub, the second the face of a human being, the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle. Ezekiel 10 verse 14. What is a cherub? A cherub, or plural form cherubim, is a celestial figure frequently referenced in the Bible. In Christian, Jewish, and Islamic literature, the cherubim are angelic winged beings with human, animal, or bird-like attributes who serve as throne bearers of God. Cherubim are described as serving the will of God, performing divine duties in the earthly realm. Their initial responsibility was protecting the Garden of Eden, as referenced in the book of Genesis. The cherubim are angelic beings associated with the worship and praise of God. Cherubim are first introduced in the Bible in Genesis 3 verse 24. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Before his rebellion and fall from heaven, Satan was a cherub, Ezekiel 28 verse 12 to 15. Cherubim in the Bible. In the Bible, cherubim are a type of angelic being or spiritual creature that are mentioned in various books, primarily in the Old Testament. Cherubim are described as having specific characteristics and roles. Here are some key points about cherubim in the Bible. 1. Guardians of God's presence. Cherubim are often associated with guarding the presence of God. The Bible describes them as being present in the Garden of Eden to guard the way to the tree of life after Adam and Eve were expelled. 2. Description. Cherubim are typically described as having a complex and symbolic appearance. They are often depicted with multiple wings and faces, sometimes with the faces of humans, lions, oxen, and eagles. These features are highly symbolic and represent different aspects of creation. 3. Symbolism. Cherubim are often seen as symbolic representations of God's might, holiness, and transcendence. Their presence signifies the sacredness of the places they guard. 4. Ark of the Covenant. Cherubim are also associated with the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred object in the Hebrew Bible. 2 cherubim with outstretched wings were positioned on the ark's cover, known as the mercy seat. God's presence was said to dwell between the cherubim on the mercy seat. 5. Prophetic visions. Cherubim are described in prophetic visions, such as those of the prophet Ezekiel, where they play significant symbolic roles, representing God's heavenly entourage and serving as a sign of divine authority. 6. Worship and praise. Cherubim are sometimes depicted as praising and worshiping God in the heavenly realm. In Isaiah's vision in the temple, Isaiah 6 verse 1 to 3, seraphim, another type of angelic being, are described as calling out, "Holy, holy, holy," in God's presence. While not explicitly called cherubim in this context, they serve a similar purpose of praising God. Cherubim Bible meaning. According to Easton's Bible Dictionary, the cherub, or cherubim, are first mentioned in connection with removing our first parents from Eden, Genesis 3 verse 24. There is no implication given of their shape or form. They are next discussed when Moses was commanded to provide furniture for the tabernacle, Exodus 25 verses 17 to 20. God promised to commune with Moses from between the cherubim, Exodus 25 verse 22. This expression was afterward used to denote the divine abode and presence, Isaiah 37 verse 16, Psalm 80 verse 1. In Ezekiel's vision, Ezekiel 10 verses 1 to 20, they appear as living creatures supporting the throne of God. From Ezekiel's description of them, Ezekiel 1, they appear to have been compound figures, Unlike any real object in nature, artificial images possess several animal features and properties. 2 cherubim were placed on the mercy seat of the ark. 2 of colossal size overshadowed it in Solomon's temple. Ezekiel 1 verses 4 to 14 speaks of 4, and this number of living creatures is mentioned in Revelation 4 verse 6. Those on the ark are called the cherubim of glory, Hebrews 9 verse 5, i.e., of the Shekinah or cloud of glory, for on them the visible glory of God rested. They were placed at each end of the mercy seat, with wings stretched upward and their faces toward each other and toward the mercy seat. They were anointed with holy oil, like the ark and other sacred furniture. The cherubim were symbolic. They were intended to represent spiritual existence in immediate contact with Jehovah. Some have regarded them as symbolical of the chief ruling power by which God carries on his operations in providence, Psalm 18 verse 10. Others interpret them as having reference to the redemption of men and as symbolizing the great rulers or ministers of the church. Many other opinions have been held regarding them, which need not be referred to here. Overall, it seems most satisfactory to regard the interpretation of the symbol as a variable, as is the symbol itself. Cherub and seraphim. The critical distinction between the heavenly beings known as cherubim and seraphim is their form. Cherubim have 4 faces and 4 wings, while seraphim have 6 wings. In the Bible, the central purpose of the cherubim and seraphim is to sit near the throne and serve God. Cherubim appear in several books of the Bible, including Genesis, Ezekiel, Kings, and Revelation. Their 4 faces are ox, lion, man, and eagle, although Ezekiel replaces the ox with the face of a cherub. They move quickly, using a wheel within a wheel, and their wings cover their body. Seraphim only appear in the book of Isaiah. Their name means burning ones, flying serpents. Seraphim use 2 of their wings for flight. Like the cherubim, they are among the highest order of angelic beings. The heavenly worship, Revelation 4. After these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, Come up here, and I will show you things which must take place after this. Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a sardius stone in appearance, and there was a rainbow around the throne, in appearance like an emerald. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. And from the throne proceeded lightnings, thunderings, and voices. 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. 6 before the throne there was a sea of glass, like crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and around the throne, were 4 living creatures full of eyes in front and in back. The first living creature was like a lion, the second living creature like a calf, the third living creature had a face like a man, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. The 4 living creatures, each having 6 wings, were full of eyes around and within. And they do not rest day or night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Whenever the living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment your opinion.